Warning. The following program contains strong language and subject matter which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this program is intended for mature audiences only.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Inside the Drag Closet, the interactive podcast where we talk about all things drag and some things that aren't. Who knows? We're really just here to have a good time. It's me, it's Jade. I am by myself tonight, and it is going to be a lovely evening. I've actually had a very interesting day, as I'm sure most of you have, so we're just going to get it out of the way right away. The election happened, and it did not go the way most of us thought it would, but it went that way. So I see a lot of people that are really hurt, a lot of people who are really scared, a lot of people out there who don't know what's going on and are very fearful right now. That's understandable, but don't let it defeat you. Don't let it drag you down. Let it galvanize you. Let it remind you that there's still work to be done. There's still a lot going on, and there's still a lot to live for. If you are having a rough time and don't know how to deal with it, I found this earlier. There are crisis hotlines out there. Your mental health is important. I've posted this on the Inside the Drag Closet page. Don't ever be afraid or ashamed to reach out for help because it is important. You are important. You are precious. You are valued, and we want you around. So never be afraid to reach out. That being said, I'm not going to dwell on it tonight. You know, it's on everyone's minds. We've been hearing about it all day. We are here to talk about other things like this. Which means I have to do a little who, what, where about myself. Who am I? My name is JADE DEVERE. I am a actor and drag artist based out of South Central Pennsylvania. I love the art of drag, and it allows me to pretend. What am I wearing? Well, 2 weeks ago, I decided to give you a little bit of WandaVision Agatha, so tonight felt it was only important to give you some Agatha all along Agatha. The outfit is from Pro Cosplay, just like my other outfit was. I love Pro Cosplay. They do an incredible job, although I should have ordered this one size bigger. Yeah, it even came with it came as a necklace, but if you watched Agatha all along, you'll notice that her brooch changes. The wig I did myself years ago. This is actually my Frau Blucher wig, but I was like, hey, it works for Agatha as well. My makeup tonight, my face is, oh, I put it away. Wet n Wild with some Kimchi Puff Puff Pass powder. My eyes are by a problematic artist who I'm not giving the credit to. My lips are the Lip Bar. There's a big shock. Yeah, my nails I did myself a couple days ago, so they are chipped and ridiculous, but it made sense for walking the road. Last but not least, where can you find me? Well, you can find me pretty much every other week right here on Inside the Drag Closet, available on Facebook and YouTube. You can find me performing all over the place. I think my next gig is down in Rehoboth at the Blue Moon with Roxy Overbrook. Incredible show down there. If you ever get a chance to go to Rehoboth, check out the Blue Moon. They do incredible shows all the time. And I don't think I have anything else lined up right now, which is kind of fine. Um, I see we have a whole bunch of people. The lovely Regina Holiday. Hi, gorgeous. How are you? Robin is here. Good evening, sweetheart. Hope you are doing well. Lauren, one of my Dark Knights castmates. We adore you as well, Lauren. David, another Dark Knights castmate. It makes me happy that you guys are on here. And Jess, one of our incredible Patreons, is here this evening. If you would like to join our Patreon, you can do so over at patreon.com/InsideTheDragCloset. For as little as $5 a month, you will get exclusive content of myself and Amethyst. You will get to see our exclusive show, Pearls of Wisdom, which is only available on the Patreon. And yeah, we prioritize the questions from our patrons as much as we can. If you ever have any questions that you would like to ask, or if you would like to do it anonymously, you can always send that email to InsideTheDragCloset@gmail.com. Simple as that. Huge thank you to our Patreons: Jake, Jess, Lori, Corey, Brian, Jeremy, Josh, Chanel, Daniel, Robin, Vicky, and Emily. Thank you all so much for helping me do stuff like this, because I can't do it without you. Um, without the fans, the drag artists aren't really doing anything. So it's fans like you that keep us going. Um, what Robin trying to memorize her script for Saturday. It opens Saturday. Good God, hurry up. Daniel, hi, sweetheart. How are you doing? And David, another one of my Dark Knights castmates, is here tonight. You do know a celebrity. It's me. I'm a celebrity. I'm a big deal. You know, I'm a big fish in a small pond. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, if you have any questions for me, feel free to type them in the chat and I will get to them as soon as I can, because that's what tonight is all about. I'm here to answer your questions. Feel free to ask me anything drag related, anything at all, honestly, because, I've got until 10 o'clock. I've got an hour and a half to just answer any questions you may have. Um, Thank you, Robin. Don't forget to share the live, because the more you share this video, the more fans we get, and the more we can keep bringing you fun content like this. So go ahead, share the video, bring on your questions. I am ready for them. Um, Truth be told, Amethyst let me know she couldn't make it this evening. I don't know why. None of my business. She simply said she couldn't make it tonight. So I decided to dedicate tonight to just answering questions, which is great because the next episode, I'm going to advertise it now, is all about Amethyst. She's going to be doing an episode by herself. And I literally told her that maybe 3 hours ago because I could. I hope she is doing well. She might try to pop in tonight just to chat for a couple minutes, but I am here for your questions. Let me see. um, Good, doing better now that you're here. The show is great for my mental health. Mental health is very important right now, and it's interesting. Um, I've had people reaching out to me all day, and I'm very appreciative. But after a while, it kind of was salt in the wound a bit. So while I am grateful, I'm kind of like, don't worry about reaching out to me. I'm okay. Reach out to other people who are not okay. I'm handling it pretty well, honestly, because there's still work to do. But I said I wasn't going to talk about it very much, but I, have to talk about it. Um, David, that's amazing. We got good David and bad David in here this evening. That is fantastic. Ooh, Robin with the first question. What did you think of the first season of Agatha All Along? I was obsessed with Agatha All Along. Honestly, like, while I like the character in WandaVision, I was like, how is she going to carry her own show? And holy crap, did she do it? Um, I wasn't expecting my favorite character to be Lilia. I really did. It was a tie between Lilia and Jen, I have to be honest. Loved both of those characters. I thought they were so dynamic. Episode 7, if you haven't watched it yet, bring tissues for episode 7. Simple as that. Granted, it's out right now, so like if you don't want spoilers, you came to the wrong place. Um, it was so good. Honestly, my absolute blunt critique was it peaked on episode 7. So episodes 8 and 9 were okay. That was the end. Um, but yeah, um, it was such a good ride. Such a good ride. When Jen flew off into the distance at the end, I was like, "Oh, what's she gonna do next?" I was looking at I watched a lot of the comparing it to the cartoon or to the comics, and Lilia was a very different character. Jen was a very different character. I do like that they did a racial change for Jen. I thought that was very cool. Um, because again, it was a character where the race wasn't a defining factor of the character, but now it can be. Um, but yeah, I loved Jennifer Kale. She has a connection in the comic books to Man-Thing. And Man-Thing was in Werewolf by Night, which I just recently watched. And I was like, okay, how's that going to work out? So I'm very intrigued to see where that goes. She's also in the comic books the cousin of Ghost Rider. So that's another interesting connection that they can play with. Um, let's see. Lilia was a force. Lilia was a force. Um, Lilia was incredible. The whole episode 7. Episode 7, like, it all made sense, and, like, I believe that at the end of episode 7, she went back. She went back. She's gonna do it all over again. She knows how it ends. Now she's gonna give it another round. So I'm intrigued to see. I would love to see her again. They asked Patti LuPone if she could fight any other Marvel character, who would it be? And she said Deadpool, because neither of them can die. At this point, Lilia can't die. So interesting. All right. Bad David has a question here. After your closing show for Dark Knights, I'm coming to one of your shows one of these days. I thought that was a question. But yes, you need to come to one of my shows one of these days because they are so much fun. I always tell people, if you're afraid to go to a drag show, don't be. Drag shows are fun. Um, Good drag shows are lighthearted, fun, but you'll get a lot of different types of performances because that's what happens. Now, we went from good David to old David. Stop it, both of you. Um, we will be talking about that in a little bit because I have pictures from Dark Nights. Um, but yeah, go see drag shows. Divas Down Under this past month didn't happen because we didn't have the ticket sales. We we speculate that it was partially because of the election and partially because the theme wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. We were going to do a cosplay night. We were going to do a lot of like fictional characters, and the tickets just didn't sell. So the downside of that is a lot of us spent a lot of money on specific looks for that show that now we have to find other uses for. Like I got this for that show. And while I have gotten mileage out of it, I'm a little bummed. I'm going to do this number again. I actually did it for the wrap party for Dark Knights. So that was a lot of fun. That was something I'm very grateful to Epic Entertainment for letting me do that. I got to perform 2 numbers at our cast party. One thing that really hit me hard was um, for Dark Knights, every house had awards, and one of the awards was the Congeniality Award, and I won that for Auntie Mortem's. And I was backstage trying to fight off tears when I got that award because I knew I was performing in a minute, and I was like, just grateful to everybody. Dark Knights was such a cool experience. Actually, I have some pictures from Dark Knights. Um, so for those who don't know, Hershey Park Dark Knights is an event that started 3 years ago. Um, Hershey Park always did kind of safe Halloween events, sweet, not scary. I did Treatville before COVID, and I thought it was fun. It was cute. It was a hard gig, but I knew they had started doing like scare zones and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't know if that's for me. And then in July, I took a chance and went to an audition, and it was a very fun audition. At the audition, they had me read for 2 of the principal characters, and I did get one of them, and I didn't know that at the time. I ended up playing Auntie Mortem, which here she is. She runs the abattoir, which is the butcher shop. Um, our makeup team was incredible. Um, I had several artists that I went to throughout the run of Dark Knights, um, and they all had very different points of view on it, um, but they were all very cool. Um, This one, I believe this was Kelsey, and she was very grateful because she got to work on old age makeup throughout the run of it. And yeah, and I think that's Pixie who did that face, and this is Jeff who did that makeup. And we also got some fun, family photos. That's me with Mac and Wolf and David the murder pig. Um, don't ask. We were exhausted. Um, but yeah, we got a lot of pictures like this. This is one of my favorites. That's me and my pig-headed nephews. That's Truffles giving Auntie a smooch on the cheek because he was his sweetheart. Um, if that's not an album cover, I don't know what is. But there's Truffles, Snuffles, and Chuck, her nephews from hell. That's more of the cast. Um, right there in the front, that's Sous Chef. And behind Sous Chef was one of our victims and our ground meat. It was such a cool event. And I am so grateful for the experience. And um, at the end of our cast event, they let us know there was an all-star cast, all-star swings for next year. And I'm one of the many that made that cut. And I'm very excited. One, because I don't have to audition. Although the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I want to go audition again. That was fun. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. Friday, when I was supposed to be at Divas Down Under, since Divas canceled, I contacted them and said, hey, do you need another swing that night? For those who don't know, swings are people who can step into any role. And they said, sure, come on up. And I didn't know what I was playing. Um, they kind of threw it to me like, what do I want to play? And I said, whatever's in the best interest of the show. And so Friday I showed up and they handed me my character card when I clocked in. They were all confused. They were like, wait, you're not Auntie? And I'm like, nope. So that night I was the Snake Charmer in Twisted Carnival. And it was a lot of fun to play that character. She was very different. This is the makeup for that. Valentine did my makeup that night, and it was so cool and so different. And yeah, it was such an interesting experience. All of Dark Nights was a very cool experience. Um, I am so grateful for that whole experience because it's been God, since August that we started. Well, no, we started in September. Um, so it was like 2 months that we were doing that show. We had 25 performances. I did 24 of them. Because there was a day I could not be there, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I met so many incredible people, people from all over the country, and it it was very cool. And I can't wait to do it again. Nobody deserved the Congeniality Award more. Thank you so much, David. I honestly, the run of Dark Nights was very rough for me. I was going through a lot. Um, some of which was connected to the car accident I was in. I was in physical therapy during Dark Nights. At the beginning of Dark Nights, sitting in the makeup chair, I would get dizzy. Um, so I would have to occasionally tell my makeup artist, I need to open my eyes for a minute. Um, all of the makeup was done by our team. It was all airbrushed, which was super cool. I'm glad I got to, let me pull this picture up again. Yeah, that's all airbrushing, except for my lips. We realized I licked my lips so much that we had to do a cream makeup on my lips. But yeah, that's all airbrushed. So very cool experience. But I have more questions to get to, so let's get to that. Regina, what brings you the most joy in the art of drag? Um, the looks on the audience's faces. Um, Yeah, it's the audience that keeps me going. I get to pick the numbers I do, and usually I pick the numbers I do. Every once in a while there's a venue that's like, we'd really like you to do this, and I'll be like, okay, I can do that. Um, but yeah, I get to choose the performance I'm doing. So it's when people are smiling and having a good time, that means I'm doing something right. And that's my favorite part of it. Drag is a chance to take people out of themselves for a little while and just play and just be silly. I love comedy numbers. I lean on comedy numbers. It's what I do. I like making people laugh. I like making people smile. Now I like scaring the hell out of people, so that's a new problem. But I love what I do. I have said that so much over the last couple days. I love what I do. Um, and I'm very lucky. And oh, I'm going to talk about it again. I hope I can continue to do what I love. Elections. Anyway, yeah, that's the thing. Jess has a question here. Do you have any other shows or movies that you've been loving? Always looking for stuff to binge. Um, like I said, I just recently saw Werewolf by Night and it was very cool. I did enjoy that. Um, movies that I've been loving. Ever since I was little, Clue. Anything with Madeline Kahn, honestly. I always wanted to be Madeline Kahn when I grew up, and I kind of am. Um, what else? Huh. I've been so focused on living my life lately that I haven't really sat in front of the TV very much. Um, Agatha All Along was pretty much the only thing I've been watching with any sort of regularity. So, did I skip over your question, Lauren? Nope, Lauren, your question is next. Um, unless there was another one that I didn't see. Sometimes with the program I'm on, I will get the questions in a different order, but I will get to them, I promise. Um, other stuff to watch. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I had gotten so wrapped up in other things that I haven't really sat in front of the TV. I have the TV on when I sleep. That's about it. Um, been trying to keep up to date with Agatha. It was very good. Honestly, it was one of the best Marvel series. And like there are already the reviews that are putting it like, oh, it was like She-Hulk, it was really bad. I'm like, okay. Are you upset because are you saying it's bad, or were you upset that there wasn't a straight cis male in that show? Think about it. Um, but yeah, Marvel makes me happy. I enjoy the Marvel stuff, so meh, deal with it. Um, all right, now I have your question, Lauren. Um, have you heard the song APT by Rose and Bruno Mars? It's so catchy and fun. I think it would make a great future number for you. I have not heard it, but I am writing it down right now. Um, do, 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 do. I will have to look into that. Um, that would be fun. I was like, I was like challenging myself to do new numbers. Um, I think that's one of the best things about being a drag artist. Every once in a while, you get stuck in a rut, so you just um, you have to shake yourself out of it and do something new. And that's kind of what I've been doing a lot lately. Uh, Roxy Fontaine, hey, how are you? Miss you. Simple question, but I'm gonna answer it. I am doing great. I am doing very well. I'm happy. I am, not dealing with the aftermath of a car accident. Although I do have another doctor's appointment tomorrow because they're still trying to make sure. Basically, they're trying to figure out why I blacked out behind the wheel of the car. And I think basically what happened is I gave blood, or I was doing blood work, and as soon as I was done, they sent me right out the door. And less than 2 minutes later, I blacked out behind the wheel and hit a building and a parked truck. And I think they're thinking they made me wait and then I passed out, but no, it was less than 2 minutes. So they should have made me wait. They should have made me stay there, but they didn't. And I've talked to lawyers about it. There's nothing they can do. Um, once I left the building, it was no longer their liability, I guess. So it is what it is. The insurance has been handling it, and you know, I know I'm doing well. So that's that. Bad David has a question here. Will you be doing a symbiote look? That would look sick. I would love that. That has to do with a TikTok I posted. There was a filter that would turn you into a symbiote from the Venom series. And while it would be super cool to do that, I would want to, I'm like, what would Jade look like as an actual symbiote? I feel like she would be purple. Because purple's that color that I've always gravitated to in drag. And yeah, I don't know. I would have to find like the right bodysuit for that, but that would be a very cool thing to do. Yeah, the wheels are turning on that. From Good David, what would you say are the top 3 qualities a drag performer should have to be successful long term? Ooh, adaptability. Adaptability is number 1, because if you get stuck in a rut, then you get defined as one note. Um, I've talked about it before. A friend of mine was very well known as doing comedy, and she tried to switch gears and do more serious numbers, and people would laugh because they were waiting for the punchline and they were waiting for the joke, and it discouraged her for a bit. So you gotta make sure you are adaptable from day one. Um, or if you are going to make that change, find a way to make that change over time. Um, Another quality, business acumen. That might sound weird, but drag is a business. It wasn't always that way, but drag is my job. Drag is what I do. Yes, I am a performer outside of drag, but drag is my main focus. Drag is what I love doing. Um, and I would not be able to do that if it wasn't for the fact that you have to have a business mindset as well. Um, you have to market yourself. You have to figure out a lot of different things. And the funny thing is, marketing for drag is usually done over social media. Um, I actually, one of our guests a couple weeks ago, Magnolia Applebottom, I reached out to her because she was doing bookings, and you have to you define acumen for Bad David. You have to be business minded. Um, you two are awful. Um, but yeah, you have to treat it like a business. Now there are a lot of drag performers who do it for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But you you have to understand that your fun job is someone else's actual job. So make good choices. I preach about that all the time. There are a lot of performers who just flippantly do what they want to do, and they're making it harder for other drag performers to get gigs. And that's not okay. So think about people other than yourself. Um, I think that's my other one. Be part of your community. Be part of Amethyst always says that drag is a superpower, and it allows us to be our superhuman self. Interesting that I'm playing a Marvel character tonight and talking about your superhero self. Um, but yeah, drag is a superpower. Drag is my ability to make people laugh. It is my ability to show empathy. This show, I used to always have a very distinct difference between myself and Jade. Um, I very much had them separate. But doing this show, they've kind of fused a little bit more. While it is Jade on the outside, the words that are coming out are both of us. And sometimes that sounds like uh DID, but I don't think it is. It is definitely, you know, Jade is the mask that I wear that allows me to say the things that I may not be comfortable saying. And that's a cool thing. Um, she's also she is my superhuman self. And I I don't take that lightly. Yeah, that's what that is. Oh, I got a little emotional with that. David, that was a really good question. I liked that one. Um, Robin has a question here. If you were to pick a 1-minute monologue for an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, what would you choose? Good question. What would I choose that's not overdone? Sadly, that's a time period that I don't really gravitate to. Um, I just never have. Um, I don't even like the fashion from that era, but um, my default is to go to Importance of Being Earnest, but that's because I've done that show. Um, I saw a local theater is doing that show, and I thought about auditioning, but it's too far away. Um, even though I love to play Lady Bracknell again. Um, yeah, I don't know. Not a good time period for me to pick a monologue from. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't. Boo. All right. I have one more question here. So keep on sending the questions in, everybody. These are really good questions. I'm going to try to read this and type at the same time because that's a thing. Usually I have Amethyst here. I really cannot type and talk at the same time, and I learned something tonight. Um, but yeah, um, keep the questions coming. These are really good questions. But Josh's question, what do you think will be happening in the world of drag in 25 years, 50 years? How do you see it evolving? Um, Great question. Um, Today is a really hard day to figure that out. Um, just because I know there has been legislation about making drag illegal because people don't understand what drag is. They think it's something that it's not. I actually had a conversation with an old friend of mine today who was constantly asking me about my intimate life as Jade, and she doesn't have one. Jade is not arousing to me. Um, no shade to anybody who is, into dressing up, you know, more power to you. Not for me. Not my thing. But it was definitely that mix of not understanding the difference between drag, trans, and cross-dressing because they are very different things. Um, a lot of times they have overlap, but for me, drag is my job. Um, I'm not a cross-dresser. Kudos to the gals that are. Um, I've met some incredible, wonderful people in that community, who have always been very welcoming of the drag community. It's two communities that get along very well, um, but they are two different communities, um, and that's what it is. And trans is also different because trans is that person's identity, who they are on the inside, and making that their outside as well. Um, and that's one thing people don't understand. Again, I didn't want to dwell on it, but I have to talk about it. All this legislation that looks like it's going to get passed now, um, demonizing people, you know, where we can't demonize other people. Um, I have I have mixed feelings about a lot of it. I have been seeing videos from trans women who are just like, there are trans women who don't pass well enough and don't make the attempt to pass, and don't show that respect. I'm like, I don't, no, that's not okay. But I do think there is a bit of a balance to it. Um, it's tough. It's very tough. Um, because I think everybody should have the right to live as they want to live. Honestly, I think all bathrooms should have stalls, first of all. Um, I don't I I hate big open bathrooms, but also like the bathroom laws are dumb because people are going in there to pee. Like you're creating a monster that doesn't exist. Um, and I think that's the point. Um, yeah. Nope, not going down that road anymore. Where do I see drag in 25 years? I don't know. I really don't know. I think it'll be cool. Um, I think I think there's going to be a resurgence of vintage drag. I love a drag artist that is stuck in a certain time period. I think that is so cool. Um, I know a lot of drag performers who are very much 1950s housewife. I love that. I love it so much. Um, I was in that phase for a while. Um, but doing shows, I diverged out of that. But I I I think that's what it's gonna be. 50 years? I don't know. If technology keeps advancing the way it is, we are going full gem in the holograms. I won't have to get dressed. I will just create my avatar and she will be amazing. I hate that actually. Oh, creating an avatar to do drag. Like that's already a thing. And um yeah. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. I just got very confused. Hmm. Yeah. Let's not. Regina, I've been doing a ton of reading and recently got myself a Kindle Paperwhite. Do you have any book recommendations? I sure don't. I sure don't. I don't read. I honestly, the most of the books I have are children's books because I used to be very gung ho about doing drag story times. I really wanted to do more of them, and then um, I just ended up not doing it. Um, I have done story times before, but I haven't done them, I'd say, in 5 years maybe. The last story time I did was actually for a bachelor party. They booked me to come and do and read children's stories, but it was a gay couple having their bachelor party, and it was a riot. Um, what did I read to them? I read P is for Pterodactyl, the worst alphabet book ever. Um, and then David, I see you correcting yourself, and I'm like, I was gonna ask what that meant. I read something else for them, and it was inappropriate, but it was a bachelor party, so that's what it was. Um, but yeah, other than that, I don't really have any book recommendations. I wish I did. Um, I have been reading a book lately on it's called Attached. It's about like different forms of attachment that we have in our lives and how I attach to other people. I'm what's called an anxious attacher. Um, Yay, that's fun. That's something you learned about Jade DeVere today. Um, which has created some confusion in my life, but now that I can identify it, I can work through it and I'm much happier now. Um, Next question. Keep these questions coming. You're making me work tonight and I love it. David, is there a draft role you've played that you're most proud of? And then drag role. Drag role is what you meant. A drag role that I am proud of. All of them. I have been very blessed in my career to have transcended masculine roles and started to get more feminine roles as well. I'm actually looking for one right now. Um, Character I played many years ago. Actually, she is the last character I played before Jade DeVere was created. Um, Found a picture of her, and I wish I had picked this other picture of her. Um, is it too late? It's too late. It's uploading. My computer's freezing up now. Um, there is an incredible author named Charles Bush who created these wonderful melodramatic shows. And the conceit in all of the shows was he wrote them so that he could be the female lead. And I was in a Charles Bush play called The Lady in Question. I played Lottie von Elsner, who was a 12-year-old Nazi. She was an absolute psychopath. I was a vicious murderer at 12 years old. You know, people who are just tuning in right now are probably getting the worst impression of me. It's accurate. But yeah, there's another picture here I'm trying to upload, but my computer's acting a little weird. Lottie was a very cool character, though. She pushed me a little too far. There was something I was supposed to do in that show that I couldn't bring myself to do, but it didn't destroy the show. Love that. Love that picture. That is Ed Fernandez as Gertrude Garnet and Bob Checchia as my uncle, the Baron von Elsner. It was a very fun show. Super melodramatic. But since then, I have played Lady Bracknell in The Importance of Being Earnest. I played several Shakespearean characters in virtual shows. During the pandemic, I got to be Lady Macbeth. That was a very fun, very fun show. I was one of the three thugs in one of the plays. I forget what it was. We basically made one of the Shakespeare plays, Too Fast, Too Furious. And I forget which one it was, but I played one of the three thugs. Damn it, I don't remember what character. I don't remember what character it was. Oh, there's my truffles. My lovely nephew, my little pig-headed nephew. But yeah, Auntie Mortem was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Auntie. She changed a lot throughout the run. I started her off very nice, very smiley, very Georgia accent. And then throughout the process, she got a little more twang in her. And I ended up sounding like Mama from Mama's Family. But it was great. It was a lot of fun. I had props that came and went, so I adapted. Once one of my favorite props disappeared, that's when she got her twang. Yeah. Snake Charmer was a very different one for me because she was silent. All I did was hiss. Like the first couple runs, I tried talking and it just didn't really work. It was also really loud in that room, and projecting a feminine voice just wasn't happening. So I thought, I'm just gonna hiss. Um, Trish, you would be fabulous and ruthless as Sylvia. I love that show. I don't know that show. I'm gonna have to look that up now. Ruthless. Another thing to write on my list. I'm learning stuff. And as Sylvia. Yeah, I'm very much in a theater phase where I am enjoying femme characters more than masculine characters. And I'm still a cis male. But there's just something about being on stage in a feminine role that is just fun. I would never want to take a role away from a woman. That's very different. I've actually had conversations about that. I was supposed to do a show, or I was asked to do a show once, and my character was a feminist. The character was the feminist character of the show, and I was like, I can't play that. And people were confused. They were like, why can't you play that? I'm like, you need a woman in that role. I have a lane. I stay in my lane. There are characters I can play, and there are characters I can't play. That character I couldn't play. It's a very tricky balance, and that's another thing drag artists need to learn. You can't just steamroll into any role. But again, incredibly grateful to Epic Entertainment for realizing the skill set that I have and, letting me utilize that. Speaking of Epic, another Dark Knights alum. I'm so happy to see all of you here tonight. This means the world to me. Is there anything from the drag world that helped you with Dark Knights? And is there anything you learned from Dark Knights that you will be incorporating into drag? Ooh. I was hired for my drag for that role, and at first I felt like I wasn't able to utilize my drag skills, and then I realized how feminine my auntie was. Um, like mannerisms that just come naturally to me, more feminine mannerisms. I had a character in mind a lot when I would see people coming around the corner that were about to see me. And it's so weird, but the character I had in mind was the fairy godmother from Cinderella. I just thought to myself, you know, nice woman. She's so sweet, so gentle. She has no idea that she's a psychopath. Um, and for those of you who never saw the Auntie Room, it was disgusting. Body parts and blood everywhere. A couple nights, the makeup artist put blood on me, and we were like, it doesn't really work on Auntie. Um, she keeps herself pristine. Um, but yeah, it was a very fascinating thing to like. I wore heels a lot. I didn't wear big heels, but I made sure I wore heels because those were just a little bit of femininity that I needed. No one saw them. Nobody saw my feet, but I knew about it. Um, when they did my costume fitting, they took my male measurements. When I put the costume on, they were like, something's not right. I was like, it's boobs. I need boobs. I brought boobs. I actually retired my boobs. I gave them, I autographed them and gave them to Ari and Elle. Um, really messed with everyone when I did it too. It was great. Um, but yeah, the last night I fully padded up that night. I, you know, had my hip pads on. I tucked in everything, and our producer looked at me and he was like, "Oh, this is what I wanted the whole time." I was like, "I know, and I wouldn't be able to pee." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a thing." I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah." Granted, I was in a dress, like I didn't need to tuck, but it that would have been my whole 30-minute break. So I was like, that's not a choice I can really make. Plus, the way the outfit fit me, I had hips. I didn't have biological hips, but the dress just hit me just right. It was great. Um, is there anything you learned from Dark Knights you'll be incorporating into drag? Um, that's a great question. Um, Actually, there's a lot from Dark Knights that I'm incorporating into the New Jersey Renaissance Fair. Um, Because one of the things we did at Dark Knights, which is kind of a master skill, you got a split second to make an impression on people. That's hard, but that's what Ren fairs need. You have all those characters in the street. You have that split second to let people know who you are and what you do. Um, and at Dark Knights, we did that. We did that all night long, and it was so cool. Um, there were a couple exercises we did at orientation that I've already told our support cast director, hey, here's an idea of something to do. Um, but yeah, um, I don't know how much of it will go into my drag, honestly. Derek and I were talking before the show, and he was like, it'd be really cool if you kind of recreated Auntie. And I was like, no, that character belongs to Epic. I don't want to I don't want to blur that line. Um, I don't mind showing pictures of her because I'm proud of her, but I think if I sat here as her, that wouldn't be right. Um, Also, I don't think Epic would like that very much. So yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know if I would incorporate any of it. I would love to. I mean, I've had characters that were women of a particular age, and they have been fun to play. Um, I actually, and my twin just popped in. Hi, twin. So, for those of you who don't know a little bit behind the scenes of Dark Knights, in the scare houses, every character was double cast. That way we could have breaks. So, when I was on stage, my double Sabrina would be backstage, and then we would switch spots. And we had to figure that out because it did not always work out great. So, I would actually, there was a little peephole in our door. I would shine a flashlight in there. That was her cue to find a way to get out. Um, Trish, I'm gonna get to your question in just a second. Um, but yeah, I I was so grateful to Sabrina. I did have another auntie when we started who unfortunately moved on to other things. Um, but Sabrina stepped in. Sabrina stepped in on the day I wasn't there. So Sabrina and Heather both stepped into that role on the same day without the standard auntie there. And kudos to the two of them. They figured it out and it was incredible and such a joy. My biggest disappointment in that is, aside from passing each other, I would never see her and we never got to hang out. So we're going to have to change that. Um, Trisha's question. For all the fangirls out there, Fry Boy, did you get to talk to him and the other sliders? I very briefly. So because of a logistics thing, the sliders would have to go through my room of aunties to get to their location. So I would be the person to cue them because I would know if people are coming or not. And it didn't always work out, but you know, Fryboy, very polite, very respectful, always wished me a good show as he was passing through. Just fantastic. Um, but didn't really get to know him. And so that's a thing. But not a big deal. Tabitha got to see me the one night I was Snake Charmer. Snake Charmer was fun. Snake Charmer was very different for me. And I really enjoyed her. Because she was different. I was not expecting her. Lauren said she gave a book recommendation. If I Were a Fish would be a great children's book for a future story time. It's based on a song. Ooh, I will have to look that up. If I Were a Fish. That sounds familiar. Very familiar. And I don't know why. Hybrid was a hottie? Hybrid. Which one was Hybrid? I didn't really get to know them. Like, we were all getting our makeup done at the same time, but we were all very focused on like our lane and our zone. Yeah. It was a very interesting experience. The whole thing, first of all, there was a cast of, I'd say, about 180 of us. So that's intimidating. Um, we all kind of found our little our cliques and our families really. Um, I can only speak from experience with aunties. We were so close and we got along so well. And we tried to welcome swings in on, like, we would have, randos come in and work in our house, and we always wanted to make them feel welcome. I always wanted to make them feel welcome. Um, and there was a weird, like, my name's on the door. Like, I know I wasn't auntie, but I felt like I needed to be the welcome wagon for people. And it's just, we all had to work together. And the night I was over at Twisted, um, shares a backstage area with the Descent, so I got to meet all of those folks. Um, and it was a very different energy. I was the new kid in class that day. Um, but yeah, it was very cool. It was a very interesting experience. I am very excited to do it again next year. Um, yeah, Fallout Zone was my favorite scare zone. I If I would have loved to do Fallout Zone for a night. I thought that would be so cool. My biggest regret was being stuck behind a desk. It was cool because it kept me very safe. Like, I only had one incident the entire time I was in there. Um, Aside from trying to help scared kids, because I would be at that point where they were overdone. Because it's a butcher shop. But yeah, I really only had one incident that I don't really want to talk about. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was a great, great event. I had a wonderful time. Um, if you had a yardstick in your hand, and she was a very severe woman. Auntie was a very severe woman, and I very much enjoyed her. Now we have run out of questions. So if anybody has more questions, feel free to send them in. But It's not an Inside the Drag Closet unless I talk about Derek's helpful drag tip of the week. Um, my husband is a show director and he has been in the drag scene for about 10 years now. And he has a lot of insight. And this is a very good drag tip this week. It is buying a pre show ticket to your local drag show is a lot like casting a vote about whether or not you want these shows to exist anymore. The choice is yours. That, that part. Um, a lot of venues get gun shy with drag shows. Um, a lot of venues won't advertise drag shows. We become the dirty little secret, especially now. And we rely on those pre-sale tickets because if those pre-sale tickets don't happen, the show doesn't happen. Um, it's, that's what happened to Divas Down Under. Um, and it's happening to shows a lot. And it's scary. And there are new shows popping up all the time. So support drag. Um, and I know there are certain like ticketing apps that have service charges that are ridiculous. I get that. Um, it's the performing arts right now are in a very tricky spot because they are not valued. Um, People only value movie stars, really. You have to be famous to be valued in this industry, and it's it's tough. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but trying to keep myself hydrated. Um, yeah, the arts are in a tricky spot. So I always say go out and support drag, but it's more go out and support the arts. Um, Theater of Harrisburg right now is doing Into the Woods. It opens this weekend. I did the wigs for it. I'm proud of the wigs I did. Some of them were quite a headache, but they got there. Some of them did not turn out the way I wanted them to, but they turned out cool. And that's really all I can ask for. And I wish I could have spent more time on them, but sadly I couldn't. Um, tell Tommy Knocker I said hi. Um, yeah, it's a tricky world we live in right now. So, um, yeah. All right, everybody. I have a challenge for all of you. Send me the questions you're afraid to ask. I am ready for them. That's what I want tonight. Send me the things that you're not certain you should ask, and I'm going to answer them. I might be evasive, but I will answer. Bring it on. I got 30 minutes left. Let's do this. 30 minutes left, and I have to say the viewership is very much up tonight, and I want to, send a huge thank you to my Dark Knights family for popping in this evening. That made me very happy. Um, David, I just thought of another answer to your question. Um, Lady Viola, my character I play at the New Jersey Ren Fair. She is probably the drag character I'm most proud of because I started developing her in 2019 and she was finally going to see the light of day in 2020. And then the fair didn't open and it sucked. And then 2021, I was needed for a different character because we were still masked at that time. Um, I played a Welsh scholar that year. And then Lady Viola finally happened. Um, and I'm very proud of her. I'm very excited about her. Um, but yeah, she's probably my favorite drag character because I created her and I do my own one woman show now, England's Leading Lady. I am a nerd. What do you want? Deal with it. Um, I'm a Shakespearean trained actor, damn it. Um, yeah, Auntie's a Shakespearean trained actor. I went to college for this. Money well spent. Um, but yeah, Matt Stetler, how dare you? What is your least favorite MCU project? Um, Great question. Because I have atypical tastes. I loved She-Hulk. Let's just start there. I thought She-Hulk was hilarious. Um, because it was irreverent and it was very true to her comics. Like she's very self-aware. She does break the fourth wall. Like I'm ready for her and Deadpool to have a moment where they both break the fourth wall and wondering if they're talking to the same person. I loved She-Hulk. The shows I didn't really gravitate to, I think my least favorite was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, like I'm thrilled for the character development of those characters through that, but there was something about the show that I was just like, "Okay, I'm watching this because it feels like I have to." Um, Loved when the Dora Milaje showed up. Like, that was my favorite part of that show. Um, Also, I am friends with the woman who handed Bucky his phone in the last episode, so I was like, "Hey, I know her." Um, but yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier just didn't catch my attention. It was good, don't get me wrong. Like, they've all been good. Let me word it that way. Um, but, um oh, yeah, Tatiana Maslany, amazing. Phenomenal performer. It had the difficult distinction of following WandaVision. That's true. WandaVision was so unconventional and so outside the box that anything following that, good luck. Um, yeah. Actually, rewatched WandaVision a couple weeks ago with Amethyst, and God, that was a good show. It was so clever. And I liked that Agatha all along was the continuation of WandaVision, and now Vision Quest is going to be part 3. So I'm interested in that. Ooh, wouldn't it be fascinating? I'm gonna throw a speculation out there. What if Vision finds Tommy first? Do with that what you will. Um, Technically, the Spider-Man movies are part of the MCU. They don't catch my attention either. Um, the last one did. The like I liked where the multiverse thing was going. Um, I'm bummed that Palm Clementif is stepping away from Mantis. That kills me. She's one of my favorite Marvel characters. Um, she got hate too. I don't understand it. I thought it was a great way to show a character. That character was so autism coded, but it was so beautifully done that I was like, this is so I see what they're doing and I love it. Um, yeah, I loved that character. Now, I will say, um, oh, I'm we're going down the MCU thing. Hi, I'm Agatha. I'm a problem. Um, I need to know your opinion on the Scarlet Witch. Um, I think we're gonna see her again. I think she's gonna come back. Because we never technically saw her die, even though they're saying she died and they're kind of putting that out there. No one's ever dead for good, especially in Marvel. Look at Jean Grey. She's come back from the dead so many times. Um, I am still ready for Storm to show up. I need Storm to show up. Um, I was really hoping we would get a teaser of Storm at the end of Wakanda Forever. I was really bummed that we didn't, but I also understood that we didn't. Um, yeah, she Storm has always been my favorite Marvel character. Um, and when she wasn't in all the movies, I was kind of like, okay, who's my new favorite? It was Mantis for a long time. I do love Yelena. I was actually going to do Yelena at Divas Down Under, um, doing a whole song in Russian too. But yeah, that didn't happen. Um, what else was good? Ooh, David with another thought-provoking question. What are the biggest challenges you face when it comes to sustaining a drag career? Having a drag career is one of those things that you have to remain completely diligent on. A couple years ago, I left my job and I did drag full time for 2 years, um, and loved it. Loved everything about it. Um, it was time. It was time for me to step away and just do it. And I was marketing myself. I was pursuing gigs. But now the market is so oversaturated with drag performers that I have gone back to my job. I'm only there 1 day a week. I took time off to do dark nights, but it's very difficult, especially when there are still venues who are like, "We'll pay you $35 and give you 2 drink tickets." I will not take that gig. I'm sorry. I would rather do a benefit show where I don't get paid than a gig like that. And that might seem counterintuitive, but my lowest rate is 75. Um, I won't go lower than 75 for a gig. Um, I did once recently and I didn't realize that until afterward. And I was kind of like, well, all right, whatever. The tips were good. Um, but yeah, being a drag artist, tips are where you actually make your money. Um, I always I always say that if I make less tips than what I made getting paid to be there, I didn't have a good night. And that's not always true. That's just me internalizing stuff. But that's kind of the scale for me. Um, and it's taken me a long time to say, hey, this is my asking rate. Um, I recently filled out a application for a venue and they asked for booking fees. And I said, it's negotiable, but here's where I'm going to start. And I haven't heard back, but they have a lot of people responding, so I'm probably not going to hear for a little while. But it's there's a level of knowing your self-worth. Um, there's I always say I'm not getting paid for the performance I'm giving. I'm getting paid for the experience I am showing up with. Um, and that's frustrating for some people. That's why I've been passed over for a lot of jobs just because other people have their degree and I don't. Um, that's not the degree is not the end all be all, especially in the arts. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Um, not just drag. I've been an actor. Actually, I've been working professionally for over 30 years. No, over 25 years. Um, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for my experience. You're paying for my know-how. Um, people defer to big businesses defer to people with their degree because they know they don't have the experience and they won't talk back when they're being exploited because they won't know any better. There, I said it. Ta-da. Um, do you feel Drag Race has given people unreal expectations of drag shows? Absolutely. Um, we have had situations at Divas Down Under, table 26, where people were like, why didn't you just stay on the stage? We wanted you to stay on the stage. We came to a drag show. I don't know what that was. No, an actual drag show, the performer will move around and collect tips the whole show. Or there will be a stage kitten doing that for them. But the drag race performers, for the most part, not always, they are making that in the booking fee. So they don't have to do that. Um, I did an event years ago with one of the queens from Drag Race, and the place was packed. That building was packed full of people, and she was walking out with fistfuls of money. And then when the local performers were performing, people were on their phones, they weren't paying attention. Just, it's disrespectful. If you're going to a drag show, pay attention to everyone. And if someone's not your cup of tea, get out of your seat and go somewhere else. or pay attention because they might be your cup of tea the next time. It's all very, I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea as a performer. Um, I've already had people say, like, why are you making a joke out of it? Why is everything a joke? And I'm like, it's not a joke. It's funny, but it's not a joke. Um, that's what I do. You know, there is a sense of absurdity in what I do. Look at this wig. This wig is absurd. This wig is ridiculous, and it's barely fitting on my head, which is why I don't turn my head very much when I'm wearing it. But if we are constantly taking ourselves so seriously, then we'll forget how to laugh. And we need to remember how to laugh, especially now. Especially now. That is why at the beginning of the episode, I did put this up, and I'm going to put it up again. I know things are tough. I know things are rough right now. You know, if you need help, there are hotlines for people. Um, I have posted these on the Inside the Drag Closet Facebook page. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'll be very upfront. I've reached out, not to those lines, but I've reached out for help. I have a therapist I talk to. There is nothing wrong about. There's nothing wrong with getting help. Um, if we could do it all, we wouldn't need anybody else. But humans need other people. You know, that's the way it is. I'm gonna stop getting heavy. Because you know what I didn't talk about tonight? Now that I've brought the mood down, I have merch. That's right. Inside the Drag Closet has merch. So if you want to go out, actually, a shirt that's very important right now is the Drag is Not a Crime hoodie. So make sure you pick up your Drag is Not a Crime hoodie. It is incredible. Just go to jadedevere.com/merch. We also have our Devoted Drag Sisters hoodie. We've got the t-shirt, the mugs, the sticker packs. We also have all of our older merch up there as well. So if you would like to pick up any of that, that site is right there. Um, Still got stuff with Just Amethyst and Diamond Dish. We've got the Just Ask Jade stuff still. It's incredible. Speaking of wigs, how should I do my hair for it at Chocolate World? Get that wig band. I have mine are here somewhere. Get a wig band. Um, that's right, merch. Ta-da! Um, the wig band's going to help you a lot. I always recommend a low pony, but with those wigs, just find a way to get it in there. I did move the poinsettias so that the poinsettias are actually into the wig instead of just sitting on top of it, so you won't have to fuss with it as much. You might still want to pin it in place, but it's different. I can't believe I have so much makeup on this jacket and I've only worn it once. So look at that. Look at that. Disrespectful. Yeah, I always recommend wig bands. Oh, you have yours from Susical. Perfect. Because even if you can pin into that wig band and it's not going to go anywhere. But yeah. All right, everybody, we got 15 more minutes. What are we going to talk about? Somebody figure out something. I don't think I didn't notice how big the poinsettia for my wig is. Trish, are you playing that character too? I did not know that. That is incredible. I still haven't come in to do the fourth wig. Let me know if you need me to. I don't know when I can, but I'll figure something out. You better jack that wig up as high as you can. Girl, it is built that way. Like, those wigs are, they're sturdy. But yeah, I can definitely, we'll figure something out. Fourth wig is mine. Okay. I opened up my availability. I chatted with Amanda about it, so I will find a time to come in and do that. I might be able to do that next week. But yeah, I will make sure your wig is ready to go. Ooh, fantasy booking. Who would you want to play for one night at Dark Nights? And who would you want me to play? Oh. I thought about it. Just because they kind of stuck me in the femme roles. Character I wouldn't want to play actually was Bombshell. I thought she would be fun, but then I thought about it more. I was like, no, she's not for me. Pit Boss. I want to play Pit Boss. I thought that character was so cool. Yeah, she would be mine. Um, Character for you to play. I would like to see you in Fallout Sound. I think Fallout would be really cool. Just because you're a bigger frame dude and that's kind of intimidating, like that would be neat. Um, Although you probably have people get aggressive with you, so I don't know. Um, or Hunter. No, Blacksmith. I could see you as Blacksmith. That'd be neat. Lauren wants to play Bombshell. I just found out, like, I think I found out closing day, there's a male equivalent of Bombshell. I did not know that, but they have a backup plan for a male version. Like, that's cool. They really thought of a lot with that gig. Like, I couldn't imagine. Um, like I brainstormed stuff. Like I sent some ideas off to production because I was like, this is what I do. Here, have some ideas. Um, do you have an actor or actress you consider a role model? Madeline Kahn. Madeline Kahn. Um, she was so beautiful. She was so put together, but she was so funny. Um, the the world took a big hit when she passed. Um, my introduction to Madeline Kahn was Mrs. White in Clue. Um, just such a great character. I thought she was so compelling. Um, yeah, Madeline Kahn. Andrea Martin too. I love Andrea Martin. Just a riot. What kind of character would you like to see me play for Ren Fair that is not a female character? Ooh. Hmm. That's a fun question. I love gender swapping things. I think it's fun, and I think it's a great way to build empathy for other genders. Um, there is a limit, of course. You don't want to do it disrespectfully. You have to learn that balance, and you have to understand the assignment. So a character that is not a female character. Um, I could see you doing a rough and tumble ragmonger. I think that'd be fun. Just like covered in rags, just a mess. Peasantry is so fun to play sometimes. Um, my first year at a Ren Fair, I was nobility, and I just thought, oh, this is the end all be all. And the next year they had me play the village idiot. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And I realized I can sit, I can climb on things. There were no rules. I could just be an absolute disaster. And it was so much fun. I loved it. Have you seen Andrea Martin in Evil? Next level for her. I have not. I'm gonna have to look that up. You all have given me a lot of homework to work on, and I appreciate that. If they remade Tu Wong Fu, what 3 actors would you cast? Damn. Um, oh, that's really tough. Let's start with Noxzema. Who would be a good Noxzema? Um, uh, um, oh God, I have to think of it. What is his name? Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie as Noxzema. That would be fantastic. Um, um, Michael Pena as Chi Chi. Although Chi Chi kind of has to have that. And I hate the word that I'm going to use, but she almost has to have that passable quality. But I think Michael could do that. And then Vita. Damn. Vita's the tough one because Vita has become such an icon. They all are iconic characters in the drag community, but oh, who would be a good Vita? I would want an actual drag queen in that role. I would want an actual drag queen in that role. Actually, I just had an interesting thought. Alyssa Edwards as Vita, Bob the drag queen as Noxzema, and oh, who would be a great Chi-Chi? Oh, there's so many good Latino queens on Drag Race. I keep going back to April Carrion for some reason. April Carrion as Chi-Chi. Yeah, that would be fun. Actually casting drag queens in those roles would be fantastic. I used to say that Tu Wong Fu was not a movie about drag queens. It was a movie about trans women because most drag queens don't spend their day-to-day in drag. To amend that, they could be drag queens that are also trans women because trans women can do drag. Simple as that. But yeah, I think I would go with actual drag artists for that. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. One more question. What do you think about Medea? Like or not like? I'm conflicted on Medea, to be very honest. Love the character. That is drag. That to me is drag. But it's also playing a female character. So yeah. I don't have strong opinions about Medea. I don't know. I haven't really watched them. Um, Tyler Perry is fantastic. I don't want to discredit Tyler Perry's work, but yeah, the little bits I know about Medea, she's too aggressive for me. Um, so yeah, don't have strong opinions on Medea. How about that? It's funny, we were actually me and one of the fellow directors at the New Jersey Ren Fair were talking about like plot lines, and he kept coming back to Medea, the historic Medea. And he's like, "Why is this not a good idea?" I was like, "Because everyone's going to want a tall black man in a dress. That's what people think of with Medea. They're not thinking of that one anymore. Um, and you're not going to be able to push people outside that mindset." Um, which I mean, Medea, great story, but not right. Although I'm pretty sure we figured out our plot. I can't confirm that yet, but I'm pretty sure we've figured out where we're going for New Jersey this year. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be something everyone's going to enjoy. Um, so New Jersey Ren Fair happening now? No. So we have auditions in January. The New Jersey Renaissance Fair is typically the last 2 weeks of May, first 2 weeks of June. We are at the Burlington County Fairgrounds in New Jersey, not far from the Turnpike, which is great. Takes about 2 hours to get there from Harrisburg. But yeah, we are in the planning process right now. After the fair ends, we usually just take some time to digest what has happened. We are still looking for a permanent site. We have not found that quite yet, but we are still looking. But until then, we are going to be at the Burlington County Fairgrounds, which has been a wonderful experience. Is it perfect? No, but it is very good for what we need it for. So yeah. So back and forth about auditioning again. It's going to be, do it, you know, do it. What have you got to lose? Simple as that. That's what I did with Dark Knights. I went into it going, if this isn't for me, it's not for me. And I had such a good experience that I was like, oh, I want to be part of this. And then I was signed on right there. Um, One last question from Trish. Best worst theater story you have, like the times when things go wrong on stage. Oh, best worst story. Um, I mean, one of my first professional shows was a very long show. Um, and between scenes, it was at an pseudo outdoor event. Um, it was a long run too, as I believe, because it got cold during the run of that. And one night for a huge, like, all hands on deck scene, me and one of the other actors walked in and we realized we're wearing our winter coats. And this show is set in the 1800s. So we quickly took off our coats, chucked them backstage, and moved on with the show. Um, I did have an awkward moment where my nose started running when I was supposed to have a kissing scene, and I felt so bad for the guy I had to kiss, but I was just like, "I'm so sorry. I can't stop it. I don't know what's happening." So I quickly wiped my face, grabbed him, and kissed him, because for my character, it was a love scene. For his character, it was not. Um, but yeah, that's probably my most embarrassing thing that has ever happened. And I've showed my butt on stage. Uh, I did a production of Hair, and the director did not want to do the nudity scene, which was fine. Most of us were not really comfortable with it, but I still had to moon everyone. Um, which he had me moon the cast. Um, but I made sure when pulling my pants up, I turned around so the audience got a little something. Um, he gave me flack one night. He's like, "You're turning around a lot slower now." And I'm like, "Yeah, how about that? It's weird." It's almost like there's an expectation sometimes. But yeah, that show, I was also a fan of the alcohol. And the night before we had a cast party, so closing day, I was hung over. So much so that I don't remember the last show. Um, I felt like hell. I was not um I was not in the right mindset to do that show. But again, it was Hair and I was playing Burger, so it was kind of okay that I was checked out the whole show. Um, they made us fake joints to smoke during that show, and it was the worst thing ever. Um, I had one of my most intimate moments on stage during that show where I would take a hit of a joint, kiss the girl playing Sheila, and she would exhale the smoke. My friend Tara, she's amazing. We met doing that show. Um, she got married the day before I did, just random. Um, but yeah, that show was a lot. Hair is a lot. It was vocally challenging. My it was right at the top of my range. So there were moments in that show that I struggled with. Um, because Burger is it's very high for me. Um, I've been training my voice to get back to that, and I think I am close. Um, I've been doing a lot of singing the Ballad of the Witch's Road in my car. Um, I'm singing Jen's part, but still, like, it's fun. But yeah. Well, everybody, it is just about 10 o'clock. We've had a lovely time together. I'm so glad so many people came out tonight. Usually when we do solo episodes, the viewership is not as high, but you know, I'm very grateful. It's been a rough day, you know. It has been a rough day for a lot of people. So do not be ashamed of having, negative thoughts right now. Don't be ashamed of that. It happens. We're all human, you know. We're all going through a lot. Um, it's only 4 years. Hopefully, it's only 4 years. Remain positive, remain optimistic, remain focused. Remain focused on your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness because they cannot take that away from you. And if they do, we have completely lost the American spirit. So remember, Amethyst says it a lot, and I've really started saying it too. If nobody else tells you today, I love you, and I'm grateful that you are here. Um, Please tune in a couple weeks because we will be getting all about Amethyst, which will be an incredible show. I will be there, but I will be behind the scenes running the show. So send in those questions. I'm going to pop them on screen and just mess with her the entire night. It's going to be fantastic. But everybody, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful time. Take care of each other. Good night.
Thank you for joining us on Inside the Drag Closet.